Welcome back to the Cash Kicks channel for expert sports analysis, the best team picks, total picks, and in-depth breakdowns based on previous performances. Stay ahead of the game with our winning insights. And for even more exclusive parlay picks, check out Channel in membership. Purdue Boilermakers versus Nebraska Cornhuskers, the race in the Big Ten, Titans under the lights in Lincoln. Purdue arrives at 19-4 overall and 9-3 in conference play, sitting fifth in the standings and trying to keep pressure on the top tier. Nebraska stands 21-2-10 and 2 in the league, third in the conference with a chance to strengthen its grip near the summit. The margin between them is thin, but the stakes are heavy: positioning, seeding, and statement power in a conference that punishes hesitation. The numbers suggest a near coin flip, but Nebraska carries a slight edge at home. This feels like a game that could echo into March. Purdue brings one of the league's most efficient offenses. The Boilermakers score 83.0 points per game on 51% shooting from the field, 38.5% from three, and 74.6% at the line. They move the ball with purpose, averaging 19.8 assists, and they control the glass at 36.1 rebounds per night. Defensively, they allow 68.7 points while generating 5.7 steals and 2.8 blocks, forcing 9.4 turnovers. Nebraska counters with balance and defensive bite. The Cornhuskers average 80.0 points per game, shoot 47.3% overall, 35.7% from deep, and 76.7% at the stripe. They distribute 18.4 assists, pull down 35.3 rebounds, and force nearly 9 turnovers per game. On the defensive end, they allow just 66.1 points while collecting 7.2 steals and 2.7 blocks, leaning on activity and containment. For Purdue, Braden Smith sets the tempo at 15.2 points and 8.7 assists per game, while shooting 49.6% from the field and 42.7% from three. Trey Kaufman-Renn adds 12.7 points and 8.3 rebounds, anchoring the interior. Fletcher Loyer chips in 13.4 points with 40.6% three-point shooting. Daniel Jacobson protects the rim with 1.6 blocks per game, giving Purdue a defensive backbone inside. Nebraska leans on Bryce Sandfort's 17.1 points per game on 47.4% shooting and 40.6% from three. A smooth scorer who stretches coverage. Rienk Mast contributes 14.7 points and 6.0 rebounds. Braden Frager adds 12.2 points, while Sam Hoiberg orchestrates with 9.5 points, 4.3 assists, and 2.0 steals, setting the tone defensively. Berke Buyuk-Tunsel provides interior length with 6.0 rebounds and 1.0 block per game. The defining theme is clear: Purdue's elite offensive efficiency and perimeter accuracy versus Nebraska's defensive discipline and home court resistance. Shot quality versus shot denial. Recent form sharpens the picture. Purdue is 3-2 in its last 5, wins over Oregon 68-64 and Maryland 93-63, but losses to Illinois 88-82 and UCLA 69-67. They've shown offensive explosiveness but occasional late-game vulnerability. Nebraska is 4-1 over its last 5, including wins over Rutgers 80-68, Michigan 75-72, Minnesota 76-57, and Washington 76-66. The lone blemish came against Illinois in a tight 89-86 loss. The Cornhuskers are defending with consistency and closing with confidence. The spotlight falls on Braden Smith and Bryce Sandfort. Smith controls tempo with efficient shooting and 42.7% from three, steady at 78.1% from the line. Sandfort brings scoring punch, 17.1 points per game, 40.6% from deep, and 82.6% at the stripe, capable of flipping momentum in a hurry. If Smith dictates tempo and keeps turnovers low, Purdue hums. If Sanford gets clean looks in transition and off movement, Nebraska ignites the building. Purdue will look to stretch Nebraska with spacing and quick ball reversals, leveraging its 51% shooting through smart selection and interior efficiency. Nebraska must counter with ball pressure, active hands, and disciplined perimeter switches. With rebounding nearly even, second chance points could decide momentum. Turnovers are subtle but critical. Purdue averages 9.4 per game, Nebraska 8.9. Whichever side protects the ball and converts live ball steals into transition points gains leverage. Rim protection is comparable, but Nebraska's 7.2 steals per game hint at more perimeter disruption. The X factors: Fletcher Lawyer's perimeter shooting for Purdue and Mast's inside scoring for Nebraska. Bench stability and late-game free throw accuracy will matter in a projected tight finish. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Nebraska winner. Purdue's offense will generate quality looks, but Nebraska's defensive pressure and home floor energy provide the separating edge. The Cornhuskers' balance, slightly stronger defensive profile, and recent closing composure tilt the margin. In a game defined by execution and patience, Nebraska makes one more stop, one more shot, and protects its place near the top of the Big Ten. My second pick for this match is total over 145.5. North Carolina Tar Heels versus Miami Hurricanes. 14th ranked North Carolina arrives in Coral Gables at 19-4 overall and 7-3 in conference play, chasing the top tier of the ACC standings. Miami stands 18-5, also 7-3 in league action, protecting home floor at the Watsco Center with positioning near the conference's upper pack on the line. Duke and Clemson sit at 10-1, Virginia and North Carolina State at 9-2, which means this is separation night. The matchup projection is razor thin, Miami at 53.1%, North Carolina at 46.9%. That's the margin between control of the inside track and chasing from behind in February. North Carolina averages 82.6 points per game, shooting 48% from the field, 34.7% from three, and 66.6% at the line. They distribute 16.8 assists per game against 9.4 turnovers, pull down 39.4 rebounds, and defend with 5.8 steals and 3.6 blocks, while allowing 70.5 points. Miami counters with 84.2 points per game on 51.1% shooting. The more efficient offense, hitting 34.2% from deep and 68.1% from the stripe. They average 17.2 assists, but commit 11.6 turnovers. On the glass, they grab 38.6 rebounds, and defensively, they pressure with 8.0 steals and 3.3 blocks, giving up 70.0 points per game. Carolina's offense flows through Caleb Wilson, who leads the Tar Heels with 20.2 points and 9.6 rebounds per game while shooting 58.5% from the field. His interior efficiency anchors a team that thrives on balance and spacing. Henri Vesar adds 16.6 points and 9.1 boards on 62.6% shooting, giving Carolina a bruising front-court tandem. Kyan Evans orchestrates with 2.9 assists per game, while Wilson also contributes 1.6 steals and 1.3 blocks, production on both ends. Miami's focal point is Malik Renaud, scoring 20.0 points per game on 56.5% shooting with 6.5 rebounds. Ernest Udeh Jr. controls the paint with 9.6 rebounds and 1.3 blocks per night, shooting an elite 72.5% from the field. In the backcourt, Trey Donaldson delivers 15.9 points and 6.2 assists, stretching defenses with 35% three-point shooting and 76.5% at the line. True Washington adds perimeter defense and 1.9 steals per game. The stylistic contrast is clear. North Carolina leans on size, rebounding control, and half-court efficiency. Miami plays with pace, ball pressure, and shooting precision. It's Carolina's front court force against Miami's guard-driven tempo. Both teams enter in rhythm. North Carolina has won 5 straight, including victories over Duke, 71-68, Syracuse, 87-77, Georgia Tech, 91-75, Virginia, 85-80, and Notre Dame, 91-69. The offense has consistently cleared 85 points in 4 of those 5, and the defensive effort has tightened late in games. Miami has won 4 of its last 5. They beat Boston College, 74-68, Cal, 86-85, Stanford, 79-70, and Syracuse, 85-76, with their only setback a tight 65-63 loss to Florida State. Their scoring has hovered in the mid to high 70s and 80s, and the turnover pressure, 8.0 steals per game on the season, has fueled transition offense. The headliner duel is Wilson versus Renaud. Wilson is efficiency and interior control. 58.5% shooting, nearly a double-double every night. Renaud brings physical scoring and face-up versatility at 56.5% from the field. Around them, Visar and Ude battle on the glass, while Donaldson tests Carolina's perimeter containment with his 6.2 assists and ability to create off the bounce. The game hinges on 3 areas: rebounding. Carolina's slight 39.4 to 38.6 edge could mean extra possessions. Turnovers. Miami forces 8.0 steals but commits 11.6. Tempo follows ball security. And shooting efficiency. Miami's 51.1% is elite, but Carolina's size can challenge shots inside. Watch the late game execution. Carolina protects the ball better. Miami thrives when the pace accelerates, and Donaldson is attacking downhill. If the Tar Heels turn this into a half-court possession game, their front court depth becomes decisive. If Miami converts turnovers into open-floor rhythm, the Hurricanes gain lift from the home crowd. Expect a tight, physical contest with momentum swings. North Carolina's rebounding and turnover discipline travel well, and their 5-game surge suggests growing confidence in crunch time. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is North Carolina winner. In a game defined by efficiency and composure, the Tar Heels' interior balance and cleaner ball control provide the narrow edge in a February showdown with conference implications. My second pick for this match is total over 156.5. Arkansas Razorbacks versus LSU Tigers. Arkansas arrives at 17-6 overall and 7-3 in the SEC, sitting 3rd in the conference and hunting Kentucky and Florida at the top. LSU stands at 14-9 and 2-8 in league play, near the bottom of the standings but desperate to shift the narrative on its home floor. The numbers lean toward the visitors, roughly a 58% edge in the matchup outlook, but the margin isn't overwhelming. In a conference as physical as this one, that leaves room for volatility. Arkansas is chasing positioning. LSU is chasing pride and momentum. That contrast alone gives this game urgency. Arkansas averages 88.7 points per game, shooting 49.9% from the field, 37.4% from 3, and 74.0% at the line. They distribute 17.5 assists a night, grab 36.3 rebounds, and force 7.4 steals while blocking 4.9 shots. The Razorbacks do commit 9.3 turnovers per game, but their offensive efficiency offsets it. They also allow 77.2 points, meaning they're comfortable in tempo and confident trading baskets. LSU scores 82.3 per game on 48.5% shooting, 32.8% from deep, and 77.1% at the stripe. They rebound slightly better at 37.1 per game and move the ball for 14.8 assists, but turnovers climb to 11.0 per contest. Defensively, they allow 74.7 points, a sturdier raw number than Arkansas, and average 6.3 steals with 4.1 blocks. The Razorbacks' offense is powered by Darius Acuff Jr., pouring in 20.5 points per game while shooting 49.0% overall, 41.6% from three, and 77.8% at the line. He adds 6.3 assists and controls pace with confidence. Trevon Brazile contributes 12.8 points and 7.0 rebounds, hitting 54.4% of his shots and protecting the rim with 1.4 blocks. Malik Thomas adds 15.0 points on 42.2% shooting and 39.1% from deep, giving Arkansas perimeter balance. For LSU, Max McKinnon leads with 15.1 points per game, shooting 42.4% overall, but an elite 92.1% from the line and nearly 40% from three. Dedan Thomas Jr. scores 15.3 with 6.5 assists, setting the offense. In the paint, Mike Nwoko shoots 66.5% from the floor and adds 5.4 rebounds, while Marquel Sutton supplies 13.2 points and 7.8 boards. The Tigers' interior efficiency is real. The defining theme: Arkansas's high-powered, efficient perimeter offense against LSU's interior strength and half-court resistance. It's spacing and shot-making versus physicality and rebounding. Recent form sharpens the picture. Arkansas has won 4 of its last 5. Victories over Mississippi State, Oklahoma, LSU, and Vanderbilt, with the lone setback an 85-77 loss to Kentucky. They've scored at least 85 points in 4 of those games, showing offensive rhythm and late-game composure. LSU has lost 4 of its last 5, with defeats to Georgia, Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Florida, offset by a lone win over South Carolina. Late-game defense and closing execution have been issues, leaving the Tigers searching for consistency. The marquee matchup is Acuff versus McKinnon. Acuff brings 20.5 points and 6.3 assists with efficiency at all 3 levels, 41% from deep and nearly 78% at the line. McKinnon answers with poise and precision, shooting nearly 40% from 3 and over 92% at the stripe. Less explosive, but highly clinical. Thomas Jr. gives LSU stability with 6.5 assists per game. Arkansas counters with Acuff's playmaking and Brazile's interior finishing, creating matchup strain. Collapse inside, and the guards stretch you. Stay home on shooters, and Brazile and the cutters attack the rim. Arkansas wants tempo, aiming for 85-plus points and leaning on 37.4% shooting from 3. LSU prefers to slow the game, control the glass, and feed Nwoko inside. Turnovers loom large. LSU averages 2 more per game, and against Arkansas's pressure guards, that gap could grow. Watch the glass. LSU rebounds slightly better, but Arkansas's offensive spacing can pull bigs away from the rim. If Brazile neutralizes Sutton on the boards, Arkansas controls tempo. If LSU dominates second chance points, the game tightens. Bench depth slightly favors Arkansas, and their recent scoring consistency suggests stronger late-game execution. LSU's path requires disciplined half-court defense, free throw efficiency, and a hot perimeter night. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Arkansas winner. Arkansas's superior shooting efficiency and perimeter balance ultimately create separation. LSU competes early behind interior scoring and free throws, but over 40 minutes, the Razorbacks' spacing, assist flow, and late-game shot-making prove decisive. Arkansas walks out of Baton Rouge with control of the tempo and a stronger grip on the SEC race. My second pick for this match is total over 159.5, Houston Cougars versus Utah Utes. The stakes are unmistakable in Salt Lake City. Houston enters at 21-2 overall and 9-1 in conference play, sitting second in the Big 12 and firmly in control of the title chase. Utah stands at 9-14 overall and just 1-9 in league play, near the bottom of the standings and fighting to salvage momentum in front of its home crowd. On paper, this is separation at its sharpest. Houston owns the edge in nearly every measurable category. and the win probability leans overwhelmingly in its favor, better than 9 out of 10 simulations. But conference basketball has a way of turning pressure into unpredictability, especially under the lights. Houston averages 78.8 points per game while allowing just 61.6, a dominant plus 17.2 scoring margin. Utah scores 77.9 but surrenders 80.6, often forced into shootouts it can't quite close. Both teams shoot 46% from the field, but Houston's 34.1% from three and 78.0% at the line give it cleaner late-game math compared to Utah's 36.1% from deep and 72.5% free throw rate. The Cougars move with balance, 15.6 assists per game against 8.1 turnovers, paired with 37.0 rebounds, 8.3 steals, and 3.7 blocks. They defend with structure and disrupt with purpose. Utah counters with 13.9 assists, but 11.2 turnovers per game, plus 34.6 rebounds, 5.9 steals, and 3.6 blocks. The Utes can score, but the defensive resistance and ball security haven't matched the firepower. Individually, Houston's engine is Kingston Fleming's. 17.1 points, 5.4 assists, 3.5 rebounds per game on 51.6% shooting, and an elite 82.6% from the stripe. Emmanuel Sharp adds 15.8 points with 36.5% three-point accuracy, while Chris Senack Jr. controls the interior with 7.7 rebounds and 50.5% shooting. Joseph Tugler brings rim presence, 1.5 blocks per game, anchoring a defense that travels. Utah leans heavily on Terrence Brown, pouring in 21.1 points per game with 3.9 assists. He shoots 45.0% overall and 34.9% from three, converting nearly 79% at the line. Keanu Dawes supplies 12.6 points and a commanding 9.1 rebounds on 57.5% efficiency, while Dan McHenry adds 17.9 points and 40.1% from beyond the arc. The scoring pieces are there. The consistency hasn't followed. The defining theme is clear. Houston's disciplined top-tier defense against Utah's scoring burst, strength versus vulnerability, efficiency versus volatility. Recent form reinforces the divide. Houston has won 4 of its last 5, victories over BYU 77-66, UCF 79-55, Cincinnati 76-54, and TCU 79-70 before a 90-86 loss at Texas Tech. The defense has tightened, holding 3 of those opponents under 60 points. Offensive rhythm has been steady, rarely dipping below the mid-70s. Utah, meanwhile, has dropped 5 straight, losses to Kansas 71-59, UCF 71-63, Oklahoma State 81-69, BYU 91-78, and Kansas State 81-78. The offense fluctuates. The defense struggles to contain runs. Close games slip late. Confidence wavers. The matchup centers on Kingston Fleming's and Terrence Brown. Fleming's controls tempo with efficient shots and smart distribution. Brown brings attack mode scoring bursts. If Brown gets downhill early, Utah gains momentum. If Fleming's dictates pace and shot quality, Houston's structure takes over. Tactically, Houston's edge lies in defensive pressure and turnover margin. The Cougars force 8.3 steals per game and protect the ball, while Utah averages over 11 turnovers. Extra possessions favor the road team. On the glass, Houston's plus 2.4 rebounding advantage could translate into second-chance points and transition control. Spacing is key. Utah has a slight edge from 3, but Houston rotates and defends with more discipline. In the half-court, Houston's patience gives it control. In an up-tempo game, Utah is more comfortable. Bench depth and structure lean Houston. The Cougars don't rely solely on one scorer. They distribute touches and defend collectively. Utah needs Brown and McHenry productive simultaneously and must avoid foul trouble for Dawes inside. The X factor? Turnovers and free throws. Houston's efficiency at the line and superior ball security create late-game leverage. Utah must shoot above its average and protect every possession to tilt the math. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Houston winner. The Cougars' defensive discipline, rebounding control, and backcourt efficiency separate them over 40 minutes. Utah competes early, feeding off home energy, but Houston's structure absorbs the surge. In the end, balance and poise prevail, and the conference contender leaves with another decisive statement win. My second pick for this match is total over 142.5. Duke Blue Devils versus Pittsburgh Panthers. The stage is set in Pittsburgh. Duke enters at 21-2 overall and 10-1 in the ACC, sitting atop the conference standings alongside Clemson. Pittsburgh stands at 9-15 overall and 2-9 in league play, fighting to regain traction in a season that has tested its depth and resilience. On paper, the gap is wide. Duke carries a commanding 93.4% edge in projected win probability. But conference nights have a way of tightening the margins. For Duke, it's about protecting first place. For Pitt, it's about changing the narrative. Duke's numbers reflect a team built on balance and efficiency. The Blue Devils average 83.4 points per game while shooting 49.7% from the field, 33.9% from three, and 71.8% at the line. They move the ball with precision, posting 17.0 assists per night against just 11.0 turnovers. On the glass, they control possessions with 39.8 rebounds per game, and defensively they generate 8.3 steals and 3.6 blocks while limiting opponents to 63.9 points. Pittsburgh plays at a slower offensive rhythm, averaging 70.8 points per game on 43.4% shooting, 33.3% from three, and 66.7% at the stripe. The Panthers distribute 13.0 assists per contest with 11.3 turnovers, pull down 35.3 rebounds, and produce 6.5 steals and 3.3 blocks. Defensively, they've struggled to contain elite offenses, allowing 71.5 points per game. Individually, Duke's engine is Cameron Boozer. He pours in 23.3 points per game on 57.6% shooting, hits 38.0% from beyond the arc, and converts 76.2% at the line. He pairs that scoring punch with 10.0 rebounds, 4.0 assists, and 1.8 steals per game. Isaiah Evans adds 14.0 points and stretches defenses at 33.3% from three, while Patrick Ngongba II anchors the interior with 10.7 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks on a sharp 61.4% shooting clip. For Pitt, Brandon Cummings leads at 12.5 points per game, shooting 42.4% overall and 32.6% from three. Cameron Corhen supplies 12.3 points and a team-high 7.4 rebounds on 52.1% efficiency. Demario Minor orchestrates the offense with 3.5 assists and 1.4 steals per game. Barry Dunning Jr. contributes 11.5 points and 5.5 rebounds, providing versatility on the wing. The defining theme is clear: Duke's high-powered, efficient offense against a Pitt defense that has struggled to slow elite scorers. If Pittsburgh cannot disrupt rhythm and win the rebounding battle, the Blue Devils' depth and spacing will dictate tempo. Recent form underscores that contrast. Duke has won 4 of its last 5, including decisive victories over Boston College, 67-49, Louisville, 83-52, Wake Forest, 90-69, and North Carolina, 72-58. The lone blemish was a tight 71-68 loss at UNC, but even there the defensive intensity traveled. Duke is defending with edge and closing games with control. Pittsburgh, meanwhile, has dropped 4 of its last 5. Losses to SMU, 86-67, Virginia, 67-47, Clemson, 63-52, and NC State, 81-72, exposed offensive droughts and defensive lapses. The lone bright spot was an 80-76 overtime win over Wake Forest, a glimpse of resilience, but consistency has remained elusive. The centerpiece duel belongs to Boozer and Cummings. Boozer is efficiency and power blended into one. 23.3 points, 10 rebounds, 57.6% shooting. He scores at all three levels and commands double teams that unlock Duke's spacing. Cummings, at 12.5 points per game, relies more on perimeter rhythm, operating at 42.4% from the field and 32.6% from deep. Where Boozer dictates terms physically, Cummings looks to generate momentum through shot-making bursts. If Pitt is to threaten, Cummings must stretch the defense early and force Duke into perimeter adjustments. Duke's ball movement and plus 4.5 rebounding edge point to extra possessions and cleaner looks. Pitt must pack the paint, limit second chances, and slow transition. If the Panthers can grind it into a half-court game and win the turnover battle, they can shorten it and stay within reach. The X factor is Duke's secondary scoring. When Evans and Ngongba complement Boozer efficiently, Duke becomes nearly impossible to scheme against. For Pitt, Corhen's interior efficiency at 52.1% could test Duke's rim protection and create balance. In the end, efficiency and depth tend to travel. Duke's offensive precision, rebounding control, and defensive consistency provide too many steady edges over 40 minutes. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Duke winner. The Blue Devils' balance and discipline separate them late, reinforcing their place at the top of the ACC with a composed, commanding road performance. My second pick for this match is total over 135.5.